Hey everybody, due to these requests, we're going to cover the Chevrolet Opala. We got you covered. Strap on in, you're lost. Hey everybody, thank you for joining me on this great Lost In. Today we're going to be covering an iconic Brazilian muscle car. A king of the roads down here in Brazil. A beautiful, elegant design that North America was definitely deprived of. All the way back in 1925, General Motors do Brasil. Originally, they only did light trucks and utilities. The utilities were awesome automotive, and they produced them until the late 60s when General Motors do Brasil had the brilliant idea of coming up with their own passenger vehicle. The options varied between the traditional large, more expensive American styles that GM was already selling in North America. Cars such as the Opala and the smaller, more economical models, GM's German arm, Opel, such as the Cadet, Olympia, Record, and Commodore. And these were already imported to Brazil, but in very small numbers. After bouncing back and forth between the large sedans and the small Cadet, General Motors do Brasil decided to go with the Commodore line, and also later introduced the Cadet as well as the Chevette. On November 23, 1966, at a press conference at the Club Atlética Paulistano, GM publicly announced Project 676, which would become the Chevrolet Opala. Fast forward 2 years to November 23rd, 1968, at the opening of the 6th São Paulo Auto Show, the Opala debuted on a rotating 16,000 square foot stage. Could you imagine that spectacle? Mind-blowing. And they also had an appearance by Sterling Moss. There were several different Opala models that made an appearance every 30 minutes. And this made for quite the show. The first model was the four-door sedan, the Esposa, and then the Luxia. Its attractive lines curved from the windscreen to the rear fender. This styling practice was referred to as Coke bottle. Already in use at the time on the sporty 1960s Camaro, Pontiac Firebird, and the 1968 Corvette. Very cool. Amongst numerous others. But hints of the upcoming style were already clear on the 1965 Chevrolet family-oriented Impala Fastback. Pretty cool. A hardtop coupe was also offered with a silhouette resembling the first generation Camaros. The headlights were rounded and not squared to differentiate between the Opel lines. It had an egg crate grille, and the styling cues were borrowed from the 1968 Nova. And it had fog lights underneath the front bumper. Fancy. And this really distinguished between the Brazilian Opala and its German siblings. In the back had a chrome strip with Chevrolet in black, and this was included with the more expensive trim. Small rectangular taillights, similar to those on the 1968 American Chevelle, and these were mounted on the tip of the rear overhang, with small reverse lights mounted in the rear bumper just above the gas cap. There was an Opala badge spelled with similar font to the American Chevrolet Impala. This was fitted on the rear fender, and the badges denoting the engine displacement were on the front wings. There was a 2500, a 3800, and later the 4100. From 1969 to 1992, the Chevrolet Impala was king of the Brazilian mid-size automotive, king of the road, being sold underneath the Chevrolet brand General Motors do Brasil, originating from the Commodore series. However, Brazil utilized local designs to distinguish it, and the engines came from the North American line. GM successfully manufactured over 1 million units, Meu Deus do céu, including the Opala sedan, the Opala coupe, and the station wagon variant, the Opala Caravan. Yeah! There was also a luxury version named the Chevrolet Commodore. It was introduced in 1975 and became the intermediate level in 1980, once the more expensive Chevrolet Diplomata was introduced. The Opalas were used by the Brazilian military police and federales. and they issued these vehicles to their agents all the way through the 1970s and 80s. And this made a great choice for drivers on the road and also on the racetrack. The Opala Coupe continued as a pillarless hardtop well into the late 1980s, even after North America discontinued this body style. The Opala's long-lived straight-six 4.1-liter engine was also used in the replacement in the Chevrolet Omega. Cool name. This model featured electronic fuel injection. Fancy. The Opala's components and chassis were used in other vehicles as well, such as the San Matilde, the Puma GTB, fancy, and the Farah XJ, a Jaguar replica. Sorry, Jaguar. After 1992, the Opala program was shelved, bringing to a close an epic era of muscle cars, of Brazilian muscle cars. This vehicle can still be seen on the streets today. It is an awesome sounding engine, and it has an iconic style that still strikes the heartstrings of automotive enthusiasts to this day. The Opala is a high watermark for muscle cars. Wow, it is so cool. I want to thank you guys for stopping with me on this little short venture of Brazilian muscle cars. Please subscribe, give a thumbs up, and share this with your primos. And until next time, até o próximo. Ciao.